Call the meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Persons wishing to make the board aware of suggestions, ideas, and/or comments may address the board at this time. This portion of the meeting, during which oral public comment is held, shall be limited to 20 minutes. Comments that involve personnel or students must be discussed in private and will be limited to 3 minutes. Please keep comments appropriate and respectful. Nobody? Okay. Number 4, that would be Mrs. Cameron. Or Derek, I suppose. Okay.
Okay. Well, good evening. As you know, every year Deb and I kind of do a quick overview of the technology department and the library, just to give you an overview of what's been going on through the last year. I have 2 quick slides. I'll be very quick and short, just to go over some things on the technology side. No major upgrades or updates during the last school year, and that's not to say that stuff hasn't been happening or I haven't been doing anything or any of that. Mostly what I'm just saying is that in terms of infrastructure and the technology side of what we have at the school has been working well, is updated, and pretty much just good to go. That doesn't mean that we don't have any minor updates that occurred throughout the year in terms of software, just little mini things that I do, but in terms of actual upgrades, I think we are in a very good spot in terms of technology with just the infrastructure, the internet, the security side of things, and even the Promethean boards and technology in the classroom. So that's kind of like my small update regarding what happened last school year. And as you know, we've been almost for now officially for 1 year streaming the board meetings, and that was kind of just a big change for a lot of schools across the state doing that requirement. So I also just kind of put on the slide here just a few of the stats of what the school has. So we have 2,000 megabits per second for our internet speed, and I can say that we don't get close to that, which is good. So we have room to expand on that when the school day is happening. 97 access points across the campus for Wi-Fi, which is pretty crazy too if you think about the size of school we have, including outside the pavilion, about the football field, baseball, softball fields, that's all included in that. And then as of today, 113 security cameras across the building. Wow. And more on the way this summer and other times. So, but as you know, that's a very important piece of security throughout the schools, and we have to use that pretty much daily for everything. So that's just where we're at in terms of some of those little stats. On the roadmap for things coming up, just working on throughout the next couple months into the next year, and just things I've had on my radar. These are just some of the major things that I think of. Working on some desktop replacements for staff and teachers. They were needed in the rooms and they're outdated now. Camera server replacement. I put this on the slide last year and still talked to our third-party vendor, H&G Services, who works on a lot of the sound systems at the school. I talked to him about the South Gym sound system. He's kind of been working on some things that in his head on how to upgrade that is like the next biggest system that needs to be upgraded in terms of the age that it is, and it's been used a lot in terms of the plays, the drama club, and just a lot of presentations are in the South Gym. So that's a sound system that's needed some upgrades for a while, and hopefully you can get on that next year. A couple additional PA speakers for security outside as well. That's for the security lockdown tones that we have for the building. That's needed outside, and a couple times we've had instances where some people couldn't hear it outside. So that's just some things that I've picked out some locations to put them in on the building, and then additional security cameras as necessary. So that's just a short list. There's other little things going on in my head that I think of, but that's just some of the major things that I can think of for next year.
It's not just little things in his head. He's a wonderful asset to South Central. Just on the technology side, we're going from STEM to STEAM. You know, we've changed the music program and are going to incorporate STEAM with the arts. So it's STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And so it's kind of exciting because where you go with STEAM is just you're doing a lot more thinking outside the box, and the kids aren't always going to get an answer. And so they just need to know how to do that, especially with AI and different things that are around now. we get more questioning time, we get more time to create and collaborate. And Amy's going to be a great asset to this. Because she's, even the other day, she says, I finally get to think out of the box myself, because she's always, in 3rd grade, you do this, you do this, you do this with testing and stuff. We're bringing STEM into the K through 12 classrooms. The STEM careers and workforce development is like a mandatory thing that needs to start coming in. So what it really belongs to, and it really can go back to the STEM growth, is the integration of STEM in all subject areas, not just science, not just math, but trying to think of how you could bring it all together. And again, it goes into that collaboration, creativity, communicating, and then we'll be meeting the STEM standards and working towards a STEM roadmap for our corporation. We are right now STEM.org certified. Instead of being Indiana state certified like the elementary is, this is more of a nationwide. And we're working with a company that's helping us do that. AI at South Central, I just kind of put it into categories. We use the program, it's called magicschool.ai. It's really school focused. It's ChatGPT, could be school focused too, but this one gives you more school related things. Like you can write notes back to parents, or it helps with teachers with their lesson plans. Instead of it being a 3-hour lesson you're working on, or even a sub lesson, you can put it in there and it comes up within minutes. And so we did have professional development this fall or spring and talked about how it would be used, and teachers went away with different applications for their classrooms. The other thing that's really important with Magic School AI is that it is safe and ethical to use. That's kind of their thing that they take their pride in on being able to do. So for the teachers, we've got streamlined lesson planning, efficient grading assistance. I had one teacher who was rapidly hand grading, writing something that a student wrote. And I said, why don't you try and use this and just see what it does? Well, when he compared what the Magic School did to what he did, it was real comparable. And so he was excited about that, because one thing we always tell the teachers is you still need to go back and check, and that's with any kind of AI kind of information that you get. And then what's nice about Magic School too, it does have a controlled usage with limits, but it's also helping them build AI literacy skills so that they realize it's there, yeah, it can do all the work for you, but you need to do something a little bit different. With 5th grade, they had to write a thank you letter to their parents or to someone, and it just happened to be after Christmas. And the tool said, well, who do you want to write to? And they said, my mom. And they said, why do you want to write to your mom? And they said, because she's nice to me or something. And then it just kept grabbing questions from them. One of the kids said, write a letter to my mom and tell her thank you, and it said, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. So it does give that kind of back to them. So from there, the kids had ideas on what to do, and then I gave them a piece of paper and they wrote a letter to their parents or whoever. So it wasn't all, just on the computer. As you know, the wireless communication device policy, next year, the Indiana law signed by Governor Braun, there's a statewide restriction on personal wireless devices. So from bell to bell, they must be off and out of sight. Our policy is going to be stored in lockers, backpacks, or vehicles. And this includes, besides just phones, tablets, and smartwatches, it can't be anything wireless. So earbuds, anything, it just goes on and on. Every time we do it, it's like this, but not including. So tonight, I should have sent this. Did you get this done? I didn't send this to you. The wireless, the communication device policy that we have.
Yeah, so the elementaries will be approved tonight.
Okay.
Junior, senior high will be next month.
Gotcha. Okay. So the policy, this is the elementary one, I believe, but it just will be posted on Facebook. We'll keep posting it so people understand, you know, how this works and what it means. And we don't have any, we can't say, oh no, we're not going to do that. It's the law. And that's going to be the hardest thing, I think, even for the kids to understand. It's not an option. Just quick library information. We checked out 16,459 books this year. And as I do every year, we haven't had any book challenges, you know, or anything that way, but I just was in the car this afternoon, and Chicago school was having trouble with somebody not wanting something that was in the library. So I think it's important that we always need to remember that that's a possibility. And like I've said before, probably won't be me that hears about it. It would probably be you or one of the principals or something that way. So, last thing, thank you. Thank you for giving me a great opportunity, guys. You don't know. I'm not going to cry. It's been wonderful.
It's been wonderful to have you.
And I've just
Yes, it has been,
really excited, but yeah,
but it's time.
it is.
New chapter.
Super
chapter.
excited.
Thank you. Unless you have any questions, but thank you.
Well, Deb, is that a good number, 16,000? It sounds
Yeah,
like a lot,
I think last
but...
year we were about the same.
Okay,
And that's getting books from them as well as from here,
okay,
because we, you know, are constantly trading off.
okay.
Kids use their Chromebooks a lot to just read the books.
Good.
And like the last 2 weeks of school, we usually close up, so it's like, go to Libraries 360 and get yourself a book.
Right.
And they do,
Good.
so it's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Anderson, first reading.
Yep, so each school year, typically Neola, which is our partner for school board policies, does 2 updates. And I apologize, I kind of lost my voice yesterday at the softball semi-state. A little too much yelling. So, but each year Neola does 2 updates. Sometimes they'll have some special updates too if something big comes down the pike or maybe they forget something. But so this is update number 2 to end the school year. Crystal and I will meet with Jim Dermody, who's our Neola rep, who's a retired local superintendent that works with Neola now. We'll meet with him in about a week and a half to continue working on this. And at the July board meeting, we'll bring the second reading to you. And by then, I'll be through all the policies to make sure they all align with, you know, our current standards and such, and any suggestions Mr. Dermody has for us. So yeah, so tonight is first reading only, information only, nothing further from that, but there's a summary of those new policies in your packet. If you come across any questions on those, just let me know.
Okay. Questions or comments on the old policies? Okay, the next item is an action item, the 26-27 updated elementary handbook. Do I hear a motion to accept?
I'll accept.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. The next is a consent agenda, and it is payroll claims 5/5 and 5/20/2026, transfer claims 72129 through 72225, plus the consent agenda. Any comments, questions on the consent agenda? No, we're not doing that till next month. No, that's okay. Next month. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, do I hear a motion to accept the consent agenda along with the claims?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay? Motion carried.
And President Allen, if I could
Yes.
interrupt real quick.
What'd you do?
One of our new teachers that we approved, I believe, his plan was to be online, so hopefully, I can wave to him right now, hopefully he's watching. Mr. Jacob Havner,
Okay.
he just approved as a new 6th grade teacher. Mr. Havner's originally from Chesterton, graduated from Purdue Northwest, or probably Purdue North Central at the time,
Yeah.
but Purdue Northwest as we know it now. And actually went to school with a couple of our current teachers, so he's familiar with
Oh,
some of our
really?
staff.
Okay.
He's most recently taught in Oregon. I think it's Oregon.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, Oregon.
Yeah.
And so he's looking to come home to family, his family in the area. Still, last I knew, was closing on a house in Valparaiso in June, and making the move back. So we'll be glad to have him, and hopefully he's listening. And I want to say welcome to Jacob and look forward to having him. He brings a lot of talents with him. It'll be a great asset for the school and for our sixth grade team. And then we also approved Caitlin DeLuca as our new social worker. So as you know, unfortunately, Abby Perez is moving on, but Caitlin is a 2019 South Central graduate, actually salutatorian of the class of 2019, and she's been working most recently with Pillars of Wellness, which is a therapy counseling group that we actually subcontract with or have an MOU with, I should say, for students to receive services from some of their therapists. So she lives in Union Mills, is engaged to another South Central grad, and yeah, lives right down the street. So we'll be glad to have her joining us this upcoming school year as well.
I know her.
Yeah, and she brings her Master's of Social Work with her, so she becomes highly qualified. So just wanted to introduce those two real quick.
Thank you. Okay, donations. To band, $1,000 from James Kuntz. To Superintendent Scholarship, $1,000 from Kleckner Interior Systems. To Superintendent Scholarship, $1,000 from Performance Services. Do I hear a motion to
I'll make that.
second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0. Principal's report.
Yeah, Mr. Kimmel is on vacation this week, so he's at Niagara Falls, but he'll be back at the end of the week. And he did not have any major updates, but asked for my help introducing Mr. Havner. So, but otherwise, we'll see him back at the end of the week. So, Mr. Mills.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to first start off with a recap of graduation that we just had this past Sunday. Obviously, you guys kind of saw, you were all in attendance with the weather that we had, and many prayers were answered with us to be able to hold that all off and be able to get that in. And it ended up being a fantastic evening with everything kind of around us and looking not so promising. But I want to extend a thank you to our office staff, our maintenance department, our technology department for doing all that they do on that day to make sure that it gets off the ground running. As well as a special thank you to Dave Reese and Solid Platforms for their donation, that they donate the stage materials as well as the labor to go ahead and build that stage every year. So it's been a great partnership that we've had. Additionally, I want to thank EventSys for the LED board that we have at the event, as well as Don Varda and his team for the live broadcast, and Danny Streeter for the fireworks display that we get every year from Danny's Fireworks in LaPorte, and Tony Wallace, as well as our local fire department, for putting on a safe firework display, because without them we could not do a safe display. And then the final thank you for the event would be to Deputies Derek Deck as well as Deputy Brett Swanson for providing safety for the event. Moving on, we want to do a little curriculum update. We did our iLearn Biology as well as our iLearn Government test. The iLearn Biology results were fantastic this year. Ms. Schroeder did a phenomenal job, as she always does, as well as the hard work and dedication that the students did. But this year, 32% of those students were proficient, and an additional 32% were above proficient. So a total of 64% of our students were at or above proficiency on the iLearn Bio, compared to what the state's averages is 47%. So that's back-to-back years that they keep building on that success. So, keep it up, Ms. Schroeder. I love seeing those kids be successful in biology. And then coming into the future, we have the accountability formula. And this year, when we did a meeting this spring, they asked us to, a lot of schools typically don't do the iLearn Government test. So this is a new test for almost everybody in the state. So we just wanted to just jump into it just to see what that looks like, kind of get some eyes on it when it technically doesn't count against us, just so we can get some familiarity with that. And so with that really short window of not really prepping for that test, we ended up having 33% of our students were proficient compared to 25% of the state was proficient. So even though we're above state average, I think that's a good baseline to base off of and build off of for next year. We'll be able to have a full year of prepping for that. And then my final bit will be some athletic accolades for the tail end of our season here. And I know we've alluded to a little bit on this softball conversation, but I'll finish up with that. But first I want to congratulate our boys volleyball team for having a phenomenal season with a school record of a 28-3 record and being the sectional runners-up. And also I want to congratulate Logan Turkovitz for being the PCC MVP. That's our first boys volleyball player to win that award, so it's a great accomplishment. Our varsity baseball team had, once again were able to capture another sectional championship, but they fell to Couts in the regional this past Saturday in LaPorte. But I want to congratulate Coach Jones for a phenomenal 3 years that he's dedicated to South Central as well as to the baseball program as he moves on to his next opportunities in Iowa. I also want to congratulate Karsten Gulab for having back-to-back qualifications to regionals for high jump. It's quite an accomplishment. I cannot jump that high, so great job for her. And then our final two, the next one is going to be varsity boys golf. Many of you guys saw last week a little parade last Thursday when they won their first team sectional in history at Beechwood, and Michael Philo as well as Jack Ashel tied for second at that event. And I believe they shot a 78 each on that one, so just a couple strokes behind. And they will be competing this Thursday at Sandy Pines for regionals. I think the first tee-off is at 9:40, and then I think the final tee-off to start off for our group is at 10:20-ish on Thursday. And finally, I want to congratulate our varsity softball team. We've seen lots of fire truck rides around the community, and there's going to be another one this evening. But it's their second appearance to semis, from passing through semi-state to being a state qualifier in the state tournament in the past 5 years. They're going to be facing off against Bar Reeve this Saturday at Purdue at 3:30 Central. We're very excited for those girls and the resilience that they've showed, especially with the weather delays that they had this past Saturday, and all the extreme travel. And many of us in this room have traveled with them and those. So we're hopeful to see them come home with another great possible first state championship this Saturday. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Questions, comments?
All right, thank you, Mr. Mills. Next is door replacement proposal. And I know I shared this information with you, but as part of our planning process for our general obligation bond dollars and considering our facility assessment from Ton and Blank Construction, the outside doors around our building are one thing that were identified as being in need of repair or replacement. And not only is functionality a problem many days, just because of natural wear and tear on the old doors, but safety is an issue as well, with doors not always latching properly. So Mr. Haggard, Mr. Schoaf, and myself met with 3 different companies to review our needs and obtain quotes for those. 3 quotes are required for any purchases over $50,000 anyhow. So we received a quote from Lazaro Companies for $304,595, a quote from Action Glass Company for $308,230, and then a quote from Meyer Glass and Mirror for $237,905. So MGM was by far the low bid on comparable quotes, and we also made a couple further adjustments for recommendation, as I shared with you, for MGM's second quote of $199,605. So this would replace all doors, frames, and hardware for entryway 2, outside doors, and the vestibule doors, which is the elementary corporation office door. Entryway 3, outside and vestibule doors, which is the high school main entrance. Entryway 18, outside and vestibule doors, which is the cafeteria entrance. entryway 4, which is the science doors, entryway 21, which is the playground doors, and a set of doors at entryway 20, which is the mechanical room. So the set of doors without windows that goes directly into the boiler room. So those would cover the busiest entryways of the building, plus the ones at the boiler room currently are held shut by a 2x4 at the moment, and some other hardware and stuff. So those needed to be addressed anyhow. That was a fire marshal issue and a safety issue, so those need to be addressed anyway. You know, there's always things that, you know, we need to repair and replace here, and while I wish we could, you know, spend the money on other things, it is operations money anyhow, so it's not like we could give it to the teachers even if we wanted to. This is a different pot of money, but there's other things coming up too. But this is one that does need to be addressed, both, like I said, from a functionality aspect and from a safety aspect. And so as a part of our GeoBond planning, it'd be my recommendation that we move forward with this. And we'd be able to get all of this done before August 1, ahead of the new school year.
Some of these doors have been an issue for a long time. When was the last time they were ever?
To my knowledge, would have been like the most recent would be the 98, 99 project, like when we added the cafeteria and the junior high hallway.
98, when they did the first
Those
time
would
the
be,
offices and things.
yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, those would be the most recent doors. So, you know, pushing 30 years, I'd like to think that they should last longer than that, but I'd say with our hot summers and cold winters,
A lot of use.
that and a lot of use.
A lot
of use. And, you know, just come here one day at 2:50 and watch the elementary kids exit the building, and you'll understand why the doors don't work a lot of times. So, Jerry, if the handicap button doesn't work, it's because they sit there and go like this until someone either says something to them or they get bored enough that they move on. But yeah, so we have great kids, but they are hard on things.
All kids.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, they've gotten good wear and tear over almost 30
Sure.
years. I just think it's time. This will get the main entrances, the busiest ones, and then next time around, hopefully we can capture those others. So
Comments or questions?
Yes, I have books.
Okay.
The cafeteria door, that's very nice to have replaced. However, the walkway up to that door is terrible.
yeah, there's a spot or two where the concrete has moved and needs to be adjusted. We actually did that outside the elementary door, or elementary incorporation door, last summer. One of the companies that does like the concrete raising with the foam underneath, spray foam I think it is, they raised concrete for us there, and it worked really well. So I will have our maintenance team take a look at that.
Thank you.
Yes. Do I hear a motion to replace the doors that were listed? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
And then last item on the administrative report is just some personnel updates for the 26-27 school year. I know I already shared about Mr. Havner and Ms. DeLuca for 6th grade and for our social worker position. But I did also communicate with you about our transportation director position and wanted to recommend that we officially appoint Crystal Kepke as director of transportation. She would also continue to serve as the corporation office administrative assistant. Mr. Biggs would be director of school safety and would still continue to help with some aspects of transportation, but this will help just kind of streamline things. And Crystal's done a really good job this past year of learning transportation, all the nuances and all that good stuff. So I think this will benefit the school and the team.
Any questions, comments? Do I hear a motion to accept the personnel updates for the upcoming school year?
Why does that keep going?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 5-0.
And then I forwarded you an email not too long, about an hour ago, but we did receive I received
Yes.
notification that we
That's great.
received a $50,000 grant from the Health Foundation of LaPorte again to support our social worker position. So that's great.
That's great news.
So, and it is 5:30. So if we want to see the softball team off
Okay, do I hear
for
a
their
motion?
parade real quick,
Do I hear a motion to
I'll make that
Okay.
motion.
I'll second it? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0.